You are listening to Indie Radio, where we do content the indie way.
Four minutes left. Three minutes left. 2 minutes. One minute. Thirty seconds. 10 seconds. 9,
Hello, and welcome to an all new episode of Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I am happy to be here. And I am joined by the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented Mosaic. How you doing, Mosaic?
I'm well. How are you?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. It's been a while since we've done a show.
I know it's been a minute.
Yes, yes, but I'm glad to see your smiling face, and I'm
Yes.
looking forward to chopping it up with you. Um, just some before we introduce our guests, just some housekeeping. This is our mid-season finale. I know we hadn't been around for a while, but we'll be back like mid to late July. And that goes for all the other indie radio programs. We have a couple this Friday, and then it's going to be a nice little hiatus for the summer, and then we'll be back. And and also we're going to be working on the 24-hour program that we didn't do in January, but we'll be doing it either probably early sometime in August. We'll do the 24-hour program. But with all that said, we have a returning champ back on the show. It's the one and only Ryan Perez. What's up,
Hey,
Ryan?
Ryan. We can't hear you.
Man, Ryan is the dude, man. Mr. Hustle Zone TV. Man.
One of my favorite Sagittarian people.
And Father's Day is coming up, right?
Yeah, Father's Day is coming up. That's the holiday where fathers don't get shine at all.
Right.
Well, it's true because, it's everyone else takes credit, and then we just get like a tie,
Right.
Something like here's a tie.
Not
Mother's Day
even
they get
tie.
the
Not even a pie tie.
But how are you guys doing? I miss you. I miss you guys. And Mosaic, I saw you yesterday in Clubhouse, but I was just flipping through and I had to get back to work. I wanted to say hi, but I just didn't get a chance to. But thank you guys. Thank you both for bringing me on.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you. Let me see what's Robert. Hey, what's up, Robert? Why don't I see the chats on? Interesting. It's been a minute. I don't even know how to use this thing, but we're gonna make it work tonight. All right. So tonight it's gonna be kind of a random show, coming up with some random topics, and it's a lot has been on my brain. Like even though I haven't been doing the show, I always get these ideas and whatnot. And I'd be thinking like, oh man, this will be interesting. And so one thing I wanted to have Ryan on is, I'm a caveman. Everybody knows I'm a caveman. Everybody knows that, how I think. So Ryan is not a caveman. He's a very evolved brother. So I really wanted to get a very different opinion than my caveman opinion.
End the patriarchy. That's my message.
Yeah, mine is we need more patriarchy. But I digress. So and of course, Mosaic, I wanted to get your thoughts as you represent all of womankind. So no pressure at all.
You're scared, right?
And she's giving you the stare right now. She's looking at you like you better act right.
So, there's so many things I want to talk about. One thing I want to talk about is finding that special person that you want to settle down with and make he your husband or she your wife. Now, Mosaic is one of the blessed people who has found her Boaz. No, I'm just playing.
He didn't die after consummation.
Okay. Kind of an inside joke on our last show, but no, she found a wonderful husband and they have a wonderful relationship. So stop asking me what's her deal. Her deal is she has a ring on it. You know how guys are.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah,
snap.
right.
Oh,
Hey, what's her deal?
and she could cook. I remember last time she was on, I think, Hustle Zone, and she was making she was making all kinds of food. I'm like, that brother is the luckiest brother on planet Earth.
Man, I cook at work
Period.
too. People,
Oh,
I
wow.
like to. And today I made like somebody came. I was like, "Well, I got eggs and stuff. You want something to eat tomorrow? Can I get some boiled eggs?" I was like, "I would, but one of my eggs is crap, but I can fry them for you." Okay, stuff falling off the thing.
Uh-oh.
And but yeah, I've been cooking at work and all kind of stuff. So people have been enjoying my cooking. I like to cook.
You know, out here in LA, a woman's cooking skills don't even have to be that great. If she
Well,
can make like spaghetti, a guy will probably cry. Like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. You know, like it's like the bar is so low because women out here just don't cook. So if you can cook, it's like you are like gold. It's like after one meal, the guy's like, I'm putting a ring on it. Like I'm not letting you go. So it's definitely all the men out here are expert chefs. Like me, my brothers, a lot of cats I know, we're the ones that be like cooking. Like I was showing Mosaic from the beginning of before the show started, like some of my exploits.
you got some
When I
life
was
going on.
back when I used to eat red meat, I showed her some of that stuff that I made. And now I proudly don't eat pork or red meat. And fish every once in a while, but I've made huge changes in my diet, and so and I obviously look a lot different than I did before, and and I'll credit to Ryan. Ryan has been a big help in just dietary things and whatnot. He's been a big choice, and it's so funny because people always ask me like, how much weight have you lost? I really don't know the number. I don't know the number, and it's on purpose because I think before when I was trying to lose weight, I was so dead set on the number, and you know how it is with your body, it fluctuates. So you can work extra harder for like a week or two, and like I ain't nothing. I'm just gonna drink water and just hit the treadmill and and do all this stuff, and then you might gain some weight, and it throws you so much off your square. So I just basically said, you know what? It's about a lifestyle change. That's the main thing. So the number doesn't matter. And what I found was when I just dealt with the lifestyle, that's when I really started making a change. So I don't know yet. I feel like when I get to a certain feel, then I'll hop on the scale. But I've been tempted too, right? But we'll see. Maybe I'll do that on air, when I finally do get on the scale.
Do it on OnlyFans. Be like, join my OnlyFans so that you can see. That's what you do on OnlyFans. OnlyFans is not just.
I do it naked.
No, not naked. You don't have to do it naked.
Why not, man?
OnlyFans is not just for porn. It's it's for revealing things that because I'm sure people want to know. They're like, man, Kente's doing a weight reveal. You want to go and subscribe for $4.99, and that pay wages.
It's funny. It's like you ever see guys who are like really ripped and stuff, and you're like, I'd be like, man, if I was that guy, I wouldn't even own a shirt. I'll go to like a funeral or a wedding with like dress pants on and a freaking bow tie. And I, what I'm saying? I wouldn't even own a shirt. Like, it's like, man, like I remember there was this one cat that I was at Venice Beach. This dude was so ripped. Like his muscles had muscles, that kind of cat. Like you could literally wash clothes on this dude's abs. And he was, this is how you know how ripped this guy was. Because they have a little workout area at the Venice Beach, where guys show off, the dudes who were like in great shape, they were ripped, they were checking the guy out like, dang. Okay, they were like, man, that dude is ripped, you know, like,
That's funny.
you know, so yeah, it's interesting when cats get like that, you know, get in that really great shape, and hopefully, I'm working on it, so I'm real proud of
Well,
it.
you're looking
But,
good, brother. You're looking good.
thank you, I appreciate that. All right, so picking your mate. All right, let's get to that. Now, me and Mosaic had a conversation once, and it got, I don't want to say heated, because me and her have never had an argument, really.
Yeah.
We had big disagreements, but it's always love, right? She's like the sister I never had. Well, wait a minute, I have like two sisters. Why did I say that? But my sisters are, if they were listening, they'd be like, "What?" Like another sister, I say. And so there's this term called "she belongs to the streets."
No words.
Yeah, I do it, right? I do it. And we had this big debate about it. And I said, man, we should have been doing this on air because it was really good. And I know, Ryan, you'll probably more than likely be not on my side. But which is all good. But I love this term, though. She belongs to the streets, because look, there's a lot of women. Like when you meet a guy, okay, Mosaic, think long and hard back to your single days. I know it was so long ago. Like, do you remember those days at all? Or are they blocked out? Okay.
I had a couple of those times.
All right. Every guy you would meet, you wasn't like, oh, you know what? I could see myself with him for the rest of my life.
No.
But you might have saw him and go, maybe not for the rest of my life, but maybe right now.
Very
For the rest of my life, but he's right now. Right?
Very selective.
Right. There's guys that, they just didn't fit what you want to do long term, and that's fine. It's fine. It's like that for men too.
Oh, I know.
You meet women. We meet women and we go, I don't see her having my babies. I don't see her and me crip walking down the aisle. You know what I'm saying? Flipping over the broom. I don't see it.
Some guys I've seen, I've seen them and I'll be like, okay, yeah, he cute. But I might not be like he could get it like until like after I got to know him after a while, like okay, like or kind of watched him for a while. Cause like, you be talking like he might be cute, then you come and you start talking to him and then he just be dumb as a box of rocks and I'll be like, oh, I can't even.
Us men, we got something for
look
those.
at it.
We got something for those too. The dumb as a box of rocks. I mean, you don't just throw them out with the bathwater. They got used too. Okay. So, but what I'm saying though is, did she belong to the streets? Is, you can't make everyone your housewife. Some women, and like some guys too, let's be honest, they're not necessarily what you would say is you want to wife that up or husband that up, right? Mm-hmm. She, we'll say she and he belong to the streets. They're gonna be, that's just what it is. Why is that such a bad thing? I mean, it is what it is. Some of your friends ain't gonna be nobody's wife. Nobody with some sense ain't gonna wife them up. Come on.
Yeah. So I think that when it comes to people who like let's just face it, there's some people that like to have casual sex. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. It's that, it's the people that are not being honest about their intentions that get caught up and are looked up as people that belong on the streets. But you don't really have to classify them as they belong on the streets. It's that there are people that just want to be sexually fluid. They want to go, and do their thing. And And I mean, like, sexual fluid could be used for different things, like, for people who are bisexual or whatever. But I'm saying sexual fluid in a sense that want multiple partners. And we had a show, one of the shows that I produced, Peasant Sex and Relationships. We brought on someone that is into polygamy, and or was polyamorous. Sorry, not polygamy, but polyamorous. And and she said pretty much it's about consent, right? Like, being able to have multiple partners. It's just being able to have consent with all these people. I mean, I'm not saying that the woman or the man that belongs on the street is polyamorous, but they're not admitting that they want multiple partners. And I think that, communication is probably the most important thing in a relationship at the jump. And then we don't have to stigmatize it because, like I said at the beginning, and the patriarchy, it frees women and it frees men too, right? We don't have to be, we don't need, like, we have to get out of the idea that we need to control women and that we need a woman that is like Virgin Mary to be in our lives, to be, a good confidant, right? We just need to have better communication skills so that, that we can foster better relationships in general. Whether it's polyamorous, whether it's just someone that likes to do things casually, I don't think we need to stigmatize it.
I'm all for stigmatization. Is that a word? And I'm all for patriarchy, and I'm all for controlling. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm serious, but I'm kidding. We'll get into it. But no, I'm not a controlling person at all. I have to control my life, so I'm not going to control your life too. That's counterproductive for me. But I'll say that as a man, I'm definitely take the leadership role in my relationships because I believe that's what a man's supposed to do. So, you can call me caveman, old school, or whatever, but I think, the buck's got to stop somewhere. And, I mean, there's a reason why it's called a dictatorship. Right? It's not called a vagina-tator.
Well, I don't want to speak for women, but I will say that, like, the whole thing about men wanting, because the Catholic Church implemented that the patriarch had to rule your home, because women are the most important part of a patriarchy, because women are the ones instructing their kids on how to live within that level of system. And the patriarchy also is, like racism, colonization, all of that kind of is interwoven in that ideology that there has to be a subclass. And women used to be men's property. So yeah, you were, the monarch wanted you to control your own. You were the patriarch. You were the leader of the house. And I think that if we were to go back, when we're talking about Black history, we're talking about African history, women didn't need to be taken care of the way that women need to be taken care of now, because women weren't dependents. They were soldiers too. There are tribes where women were the soldiers. So, and in Egypt, women were treated just as equal. Right. And, there are stories where you hear women had multiple partners. It's normal. It's normal. But in this society, we have to create subclasses within our homes. And it causes these, it puts a man in a situation where we have to be the man in the home. We are the leader. And I don't think that we necessarily have to be that way. And when it comes to someone that loves to have sex with multiple partners, that's just, if you're into that, you just have to let the girl know that you're into it. If she's not, it doesn't make her less submissive or, less anything. It's just the fact that she likes to be with multiple partners. I don't see the problem with that at all.
No, I don't see the problem with that at all. But I don't. Should you be trying to wife that girl up though? Like, should you be? She belonged to the streets.
Not if you're in a polyamorous or polygamous relationship, you're not for the streets. You're for the people that you're with.
Well, I mean that's different though. We're talking about like just
I mean,
the whole for the streets means that
well, I
like,
understand what it means, like that somebody may be
I'll be
extremely
right back.
promiscuous. Maybe they're, considered a hoe, or for lack of a better term. But okay, so let's say that person's what we would consider a hoe, a skeezer, a freak, or whatever in her younger days, but then she gets older. Yeah, she may still be doing a little bit of that. That doesn't mean that she's the same person as she was when she got older. So whether or not you wife that person or not, it depends on whether the conversation that in the relationship that you build with that particular person. Because
mhm.
she may be somebody who was maybe she became formerly from the streets when she met you.
Yeah, but that's a very good thought. But what I'm saying is, look, and like I said, this goes for men too. I think there's a lot of guys are. I don't think everybody's monogamous, and I believe that I don't believe that everyone's monogamous, and I think monogamy is being forced on. I don't want to say forced on it, but societal pressures are having people practice monogamy when monogamy is maybe just not for them. And so what I'm saying is, not everybody is husband material, not everybody is wife material. So that's okay. There's no problem with that. It's okay. And I think you have to understand that. And I think sometimes we try to put a round a square peg into a round hole, you know, it's just not for everybody. So you have to identify who you're involved with. Because see, a lot of times is you meet JoJo, right? And I'll take it from the women. I'll say from the man perspective. You meet JoJo, right? You like JoJo. He's fun. He's exciting. He's all these things, right? But he ain't a husband. He's not
Yeah.
gonna be he's not gonna be loyal to you. He's not gonna be in a monogamous situation. He'll promise monogamy, but he's really not that monogamous dude. And then you get frustrated because you keep catching him dirty when he never was that dude. He just was never that guy. So what I'm saying is the same thing with some women is you got to identify that you have to identify it before you commit to that person and just
Well,
be like,
that's true. I mean, I don't see, like, sometimes it may be that JoJo might be promiscuous, then he meet that one woman, he'd be like, dang, and he can't live, so he might can't live without her. Some people change like that. It's the same thing could happen for a woman. You might meet Kiki, and she might be just that one, and and she changed her ways or whatever. You never know. I don't think that we should completely write off people based on their behaviors or completely all the time. So like if I see a man, you're not where I am at the time, yeah, I'm going to move on. Because when I was, dating before I got married, those are some things that I was considering. Like, okay, do I like to go out the country? I like to, go places. There's things I want to do. I want to live in Africa one day. And they're like, I don't even want to leave the city sometimes. And I'm like, no, that's not for me. I don't want anything to do with that. So, you have to to meet those people and try to get to know them. But I don't think that once you find out that they're for whatever they're for, whether it's for the streets or whatever, that that's just them. That's not for me, and I just keep it moving. There's no judgment.
well, it's not judgment, but it's identifying what you got. So, and I think that messes a lot of, especially women, up when they go, "Well, I could be the one that changes them." No, God, every time I hear that, I cringe
Well, not
because
saying that women are trying to do that. I'm just saying that you can meet somebody and you realize that you like this particular person and you can change because of that, not because the person is trying to change you. That you can't. The only time a woman has been successful at changing a man is when he was a baby, changing his damn diaper. Other than that, you can't change nobody.
I agree. I think you have to. I just believe that you 9 times out of 10 you're going to be it's going to be failure. So you have to identify that. You know what? They may be fun to have fun with, but you don't take them too serious. Some people you just can't take serious because that's just not who they are. And that's fine. And no judgments.
Right.
It's just what it is. So when I say he or she is for the streets, I mean that, you know what? Get what you want to get out of them as far as, but don't get your heart wrapped up into this person because you'll probably be sad. More than likely, you're going to be disappointed. So
I mean, but a lot of men go for the women that would be technically considered for the streets.
they go for them. They go for them to screw them. They don't go for them to marry them.
Some of them do.
Very few. Okay, wait a minute. Let's make a difference. A man of substance, like a real man of substance, doesn't do that. Very rarely do that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the men of substance, but there's some guys out here. I mean, if you look at like reality TV, some of the girls
that's not real though.
I mean, yeah, well, some of the drama is, but
I mean, that's fantasy, and a lot of times those relationships they put those people together and all that. But I'm talking about in real world, men, they don't. That's not who they settle down with. And I know women say that a lot. That men, that's who men like. Look, I'll say this: if you're trying to get a win, an easy win, meaning in the bedroom, yeah, I'm gonna pass up Angel Heather or Angel Kanisha or whoever for Dirty Diana. Dirty.
So
Susie.
I have a friend that I know who married a guy, and he was cheating on her for somebody who would be considered for the street.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, dude would complain to like their mutual friends, like, all she want to have, like, shit, like, sit at the table and eat dinner and shit. Like, who doesn't like? He would have these weird ass complaints, right? And they're like, nigga, like, do you realize the type of woman that you have? And he was just like, I ain't trying to do what she want to do, all this romantic stuff, eating dinner at the table, and all this kind of da 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 da. They got divorced. And the reason why they got divorced was his son was almost dying in the hospital. And she told him to come to the hospital because his son was dying, and he had her and old girl in the car. So he had to go to the hospital with old girl, and she had to so that she's standing outside waiting on a cab. And other people see her like, what are you doing here? It was like, oh, I was with him, and I got to get a cab. They're like, nigga, what is wrong with you? Like, you brought her to the hospital. Your son is dying. Like, he preferred the woman that wasn't about nothing. But then he had a whole wife that was a professional. She make, 6 figures or so, whatever, this is that. And I was like, some men actually do want that. That's what they consider. I mean, you can't say that all men, I
didn't say all.
That,
I would never say all. But he sounds like a complete asshole. We're not gonna count assholes. Like asshole men. I mean, they want all kind. He sounds like a dickhead. So, I mean, are you really gonna? That's like comparing brothers to Candyman.
But then he also will be considered like a high value man too. That's another thing. So he would be considered what your boy would consider like a high value man. He
sounds like a douchebag.
He does sound like he is a douchebag. But face value, he would be considered like a high value man.
Well, I mean, they got high value idiots, but he's not the norm though. He's an outlier. The most of those guys, they want a nice, they want that woman they can close their eyes and picture as their wife. Now, they not saying they ain't gonna explore options with Dirty Diana. You know, I mean that's still on the table, but you know, you know, I'm just saying, like, you would, I think a lot of us young men, when we start to recognize who to be serious with and who to play with, that's when our love lives got better. Because when you're young, damn near every girl is like, oh, potential. Oh, you know, and then when you get, you know, maybe it's hardened by experiences and whatnot, then you get to a point where you're like, I can't do this. You know, like you know, like okay, I'm not gonna be serious with this one. You know. Now, I'll be honest with you. Like, oh wow, Marilyn, what's up, Marilyn? I haven't talked to her in a while. We actually got to talk, Marilyn. Uh, Marilyn Rodriguez. Uh, but you know, I know it sounds sucky, and everybody's human beings, right? And they deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people do. But it's just, I'm telling you, you're just better served if you can understand who to be serious with and who not to. It's just
Yeah.
better for you.
And I think it saves you from disappointments too, because sometimes people have these expectations of the type of person that they want, and that may not be the best person for them, but they want them, and then they be like, well, that person doesn't want you,
Mhm.
and then they be like, well, all men ain't shit, or all women ain't shit, fuck them, that kind of stuff. And you disappoint yourself because you keep going for the same type of thing that may be unattainable to you at the moment. And so it was like, yeah, like Robert was saying, I'm only only human with flesh and blood.
I'm only human,
Right.
flesh and blood, a man.
But
Shout out to the
some
Human League.
our
Mhm.
expectations cause us to be extremely jaded and hurt.
Right. So, it's an interesting conversation, and honestly, that's what I tell young guys. You know, I tell young, yeah, that is the song. Just as a side note, that song was recorded by the Human League, but it was produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So a lot of people don't know that. But anyway, I digress. But look, I'm telling you, once I was able to identify what categories to put certain women in, my dating life got better. You know, who did I miss out on some gems? Probably not. Probably not. So anyway, okay. So all right. So there's some other things I wanted to get to while I had you guys on, and let's talk about men, right? And let's talk about what should be expected from a dude as far as being the protector of the family, the protector of the relationship with his woman, and when keep feeling fascination, pass and burn. Okay, he's gonna just quote Human League songs. I love Human League. Anyway, um, now one thing women don't realize, it's a lot of pressure being a dude, right? Because you have societal pressures, right? And being a brother too, you know, right? You have societal pressures. You have, especially if you have a woman, and if you have kids, children, whatever, there's pressure. You got to make sure that they eat, right? Because kids like to eat. That's what I heard, right? Is that true, Ryan? Kids like to eat, right?
Yeah, they do.
Your woman, she likes stuff too, right? She likes shoes and stuff and whatever she likes, right? So there's pressures, right? You want to provide, you want to be that provider, right? But then there's also a physical pressure too. There's that pressure of somebody steps to the family It could be someone breaks in your home. It could be somebody talk greasy to your woman, right? It could be that big buff dude at Venice Beach. He just decide I'm going Mosaic's your woman, right? He just gonna decide I'm a I'm talking to her. What you gonna do about it? You
My
know,
husband will punch you in
right?
the
Right.
face.
So, but those situations happen, right? And there's this great clip from this show called Louis, starring Louis C.K., where I can't play it because they'll ding me, but where he's on this date. It's a first date, right? And it's like this great date, you know, everything's going really good because usually his dates go bad. And you knew something was bad was going to happen eventually. And she's loving all of his jokes. She's really feeling him. And they go to a donut shop in the middle of the night in New York. And everything's going good. And then these rowdy high school kids on the football team come in and they're loud as heck. Right. And then so he feels like, I'm a man, right? I got to say something to these. And he says, hey, can you quiet it down? Not, he doesn't get crazy, right? So one of the guys come over to the table and basically punks him out and says, and he shows his fist, right? And his fists are scarred up. He said, I just got through beating the hell out of somebody. I don't even know if he's still alive. And he says, I want you to apologize to me. And he doesn't want to get beat up, right? So he gives like a weak apology. He's like, I'm sorry, man. And he's like, nah, I gotta feel it. Apologize. And he's doing this in front of his date, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, as a man who, thank God I've never been in that situation, but it's like soul crushing when you see this guy who's an adult to this like high school football player go, debase himself. And he's like, I'm sorry, sir. Please don't kick my ass. Basically embarrassing the hell out of himself. And then he goes, all right, I'm gonna let you go. And he walks off. And the woman that he's on the date with, she went from looking at him with these goo eyes to looking at him just like he's gum on her shoe, like it just totally changed. And then he goes to her, he goes, did you expect me to like fight him? And she's like, no, that'd have been stupid. But she said, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Watching you debase yourself like that to get out of a fight just turned me off. I mean, she even says I'm conflicted because I don't want to see you fighting, but seeing you debase yourself like that just turned her off. It was a turn off. And I thought about like, what would I have done in that situation? I definitely wouldn't apologize. I wouldn't have apologized. There was like a bottle of Heinz ketchup. I would have smacked it over that dude's head. And then look, the other guys might have got me, but he would have felt it. Like I was thinking, like I'd have just bash him over his head. His three friends, they probably would have got me because it was three of them. But I sure as hell, I'd have been like, I ain't apologizing. You better get out of here before I whoop your ass, even though, but it just makes me think though, like, not every guy is about that life.
That's true.
I'm not Bruce Lee. I ain't no punk either, but I ain't Bruce Lee. Some guys, I can understand why they would opt not to try to fight. They're just not about that life. So as the woman here, like I know you're with a guy who can bench press a Prius. So you don't have that issue. Your man, will protect you. They wouldn't even try that.
Scared. I mean, you're human. It's okay to be scared, but if I feel like you need to take over a situation, like one time, this is crazy. I was downtown. We were downtown, leaving work, and I was walking, and suddenly I was on the ground,
Oh
and my
wow.
husband was on the phone. He didn't know what. He was just like, "Got it," like looking for me. So I'm like, "Help me up! What are you doing?" He's steady on the phone, like. And it's like all the homeless guys are like, "Miss Keisha, you okay? You okay, Miss Keisha?"
Hilarious.
And my husband is still on the phone, like, "Dada, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh my God." But my husband, he's really strong. He is. But I mean, there's some things I don't expect him to do because I've had to had a situation handled before that
Hmm.
didn't involve him because we worked at the same place. And it's this man, he used to always want to touch me. And so I told my husband about it, but I told him I was gonna tell my husband. And he was like, so Babacar saw him and he's like, "Hey man, let me talk to you." This man, he like walked away really fast, but he kept like on the side trying to, touch me or whatever. So I made a phone call and pulled a favor. He'll be in the alley at this time. I would put my husband in that situation because I don't want to see our livelihoods disrupted. But I got
Right.
some shooters on my team. He pull up on you, come see you.
Right. Right. Right.
So, so there's some things that I do understand. Like, oh, I don't want to mess up the coins in my house. So let me call somebody who ain't got nothing to lose.
Now, if there's a gun involved, I would have been like, "I'm sorry, sir, that I yelled at you. Like I ain't a fool. I'm not an idiot. Okay, I'm not gonna get myself shot."
And even with that, just those kind of situations, you gotta be careful even what I'm carrying because I
Right.
carry. So, depending on the situation, I'm like, I'm gonna lay you down. That's just how it goes. But I'm all about weighing your options because if there's a situation like I saved my life by when I told you guys before that I've been raped and kidnapped. I've
Right.
saved my life by being crafty and not being aggressive in a situation that I could have been like trying to fight back or nothing like that. I had to basically humiliate myself to get out of a situation to save my life. And sometimes that's necessary depending on the situation.
Yeah.
And like
Oh, go
I
ahead.
have to say, being someone that was in martial arts, and and I have a ongoing relationship with my sensei, and the whole thing is that we need to teach women how to defend themselves. I think one of the biggest things that came out of Black Lives Matter was that women don't feel protected. Now, when you are the husband and you're supposed to protect the home, there's a lot of fallacies that I hear when people are saying, "Well, I need to protect my family," and then when you're in a situation where you don't protect your family, then when you're in a situation where you can't protect your family, then are you less of a man? So that the man image just crumbles right at that premise, and not every situation you're going to be able to defend your family, and that's just because you never know who you're going to engage in a fight with, and you don't know what they're carrying. And when you're on the front lines and you're actually protesting, you have to protect your people too, right? You have to make sure that if you are protesting and you are in a situation where you're fighting for rights, you also have to make sure that you're negotiating with the other party and getting to a point where you don't have to fight and you don't have to put your people in danger. Now, that being said, going back to traditionally, we were in tribes. Our tribes protected. It wasn't just one man, it was multiple men. It wasn't just one woman, it was multiple women. We've lost that idea and that sense of community. And therefore, because like what Mosaic is saying is that she has people that she can pull that will pull up on you. And that's the idea, is that you're creating multiple ways of defending your family, to protect your family. And like the most important thing too is that we have to protect women from their own men, because men are beating up on their own women. So when it comes to men being the protector, when men are becoming more than a protector and, raping their women in their own marriage, and no one's doing anything about it, and the family courts see it as a domestic violence and they don't see it as a crime. So the situation becomes completely different because because the person, so the cops are not even going to do as much as they can if it was someone that you didn't know. So we have to not only protect our women, we have to protect our family, but women have to also protect themselves, and women have to take self-defense classes. We as a community have to do that to protect ourselves, because you see what happened in the Asian community. They just 1 year of intense intensity in their world when it comes to people attacking them. However, what their community leaders were saying is like, we should all teach each other martial arts because of the attacks. So I think that protection is a community issue. You also have to understand that putting cameras in your home is another, issue. Making sure your phone is charged so that if someone is coming up to you, recording that. Like, defense is multi-layered, but it's not on the man himself. Women also need to be able to protect themselves collectively within the family, right?
I agree with that, but I also believe that the man is number one as far as security of the household and the family. I believe that for sure. But then also, we got to also, if we want to bring up abuse and all of that kind of stuff, we also got to bring up women have to make better choices in the men that they decide to be with too. I mean, that's one thing they don't never talk about.
But she doesn't choose to be abused.
A lot of women make horrible decisions with the
But
Negroes.
sometimes the women don't know that they're.
We're not talking about those situations. If you don't know, you don't know. You don't know, and he surprises you.
I mean, the same thing goes for men, though. Men need to make better choices than women, because
Wait a minute. We're talking about women. Okay, now we're doing the what about. We're talking about women.
When that comes about abuse, and it's like women need to make better choices, nobody goes into a relationship like, oh, I'm gonna stay with this nigga. I know he gonna beat my ass, but I'm gonna stay with him.
You'd be surprised. A lot do. A lot do.
Those women are.
I'll give you a great example. I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
I'll give you a great example. And I'm not pro abuse, so I don't want to hear no crap about that. Obviously, I think a man who beats up a woman he ain't shit. So we can all agree that it's horrible, right? So that's not even up for debate. Okay. But what I'm saying is that we know that men shouldn't beat women, right? We can all agree on that. So what I'm also saying is, okay, if he totally surprised you, I give you that. But then there's a lot of women that I'm telling you, like, I'll give you a great example. Like, I was about to bring up an example. There was a time where I was kicking it. This was years ago. And I seen this couple, a man and a woman, brother and sister. They were having a heated argument. And he started to abuse her physically. So I don't know them from anything, but I'm seeing a sister getting hit. So I go to stop it, right? Man, they both jumped on me, and
yeah, that typically happens.
And then I put my hands up and I said, whoa, I'm sorry. Go back to whipping her ass, right? And I realized something. As much as I don't like to see it, right? I don't know what their situation is. I don't think it's right. I think it's wrong. But maybe I was wrong for even jumping in there because she turned right. She went from getting beat up smacked around to she started swinging on me, right? And I'm not. I don't. You know, like, what do you
That
do?
typically
That's
happens in abusive relationships, though. And here's the thing, though, Kente. Even though she did turn on you, you have to think about what if she didn't turn on you, and the guy would be like, "Oh, so you fucking this nigga?" Then when they get, it's gonna. So sometimes people do things out, and then the people that get abused. And we have to really to really talk about this issue. We have to talk about the culture in our own communities of how, let's say, it's an old blues song. It's like, it's better to have a piece of a man than none of a man. And that's that ideal that's been passed down from generation to generation, to accept anything from certain types of men that really hurts us. And some of these women have never seen positive relationships.
I think that's.
And just like some of these men haven't seen positive relationships.
I think that's maybe true in some situations,
A
but
lot
there's
of
also there's a whole culture
see
of
it every day.
wait a minute. There's a whole culture of he got to be swaggy, he got to be a thug, he got to be.
Okay,
We don't talk about that. We have
that
to
goes
talk
with
about
it.
that.
But nobody's also talking about how I watch my mama get her ass whipped every day, and I think that's how somebody's supposed to love me. And I see it every day because I'm being very dead ass serious. Because I work with these kids who come from some of these homes, and you see people, they have never had seen a positive relationship, and they think that getting their ass whooped is normal. Like, it's normal for your boyfriend to be possessive of you. We are failing our children because some of us as adults have not done our own
I'm
work.
not. I am not saying. First of all, let me clarify something. I am not pro abuse. I think men. I've never. Wait a minute. I've never ever laid a hand on a woman. I think those are scumbags. So let me make this clear. I am not defending. I am not defending men who do it. I think they should be put in jail. I think they should have their ass whooped. I 100% agree with you. This is not a defense of that. But then there's also another part of it too. There's this culture of loving thugs and Negroes in prison and all of that stuff that they don't talk about.
But
and if you don't have wait,
yeah.
I'm not done. If we don't talk about that as well, because that is something that doesn't get talked about.
But
black men, since we're talking about the black community, who are solid citizens, but they're considered lame because they study, because they speak with good English, because they don't have no teardrop tattoos. They're considered lame in our community.
That's a lot of.
See, can I say something? There's a lot of contradiction here, because first we're talking about the man being the protector, and then you were wondering why women are going towards the guys that are thugs, the guys that are in prison, and the guys are because they're protectors.
They're not protectors.
Well, listen,
whooping your ass. They're not.
You're making a generalized statement. The fact is that when a woman sees a guy that has muscles and that's tall, in her mind, it's like, you know what, he's going to protect me, right? Because you don't know what type of neighborhood that she lives in, and to have a guy that was used to be in prison or who was a thug, that maybe carries on him or whatever, that's an idea, because we've been ingrained that a man is supposed to be a protector. So what do you think women are going to choose?
Man is supposed to be a protector.
If you were to put a guy that had muscles, compared to me, who would she choose to be the protector? She wouldn't expect me to be the protector. And that's why the psychology behind the man being the protector is it brings a lot of falsehood and can be broken down just by listening to the semantics of it all. You can break it down just like that, because I don't look like a protector, so therefore I'm not a man.
I never said that.
No, I never said you said that. I'm talking about this generally in a sense that, protection is a community issue, right? When you don't have a good community, you don't have a watch, when you don't, like, for example, you can go to places where there's Nation of Islam. Nation Islam patrols their community. If you are if you have a solid community where people are looking out for each other, then people will come and run up on a guy. But when you don't have anyone in your life, a woman normally gets abused. You'll never know. Maybe the guy had a good job, and then all of a sudden, boom, he lost his job, starts getting into alcohol, and then he becomes an abuser. You can't look at a person and say, "Oh, this guy's an abuser." Then you're already staring.
Okay, let me reset.
Hold on. Well, let me finish the thought. I think again, you can't look at someone and say that they're an abuser.
Never said that.
No, I never said you said that. I'm saying you cannot look at a person because they're a thug or whatever. You can't look at them and assume that they're going to hurt a woman. But what you can say is that when a woman is left alone, when she has no family, when she is vulnerable and no one is there to protect him, that's when a guy comes in and starts beating on her because no one else can see. That's why the whole protection idea and this concept of manhood, really, like in Canada, if you come up in my home, I'm not even allowed to beat you with a weapon because I can go to jail too. So when we're talking about protection, we're really not really talking about protection because we physically, you even said it yourself, to protect someone, you're like, man, he deserves to be in jail. It's the police that are our protectors. So at the end of the day, we're just breaking down this concept of a man and breaking the semantics and saying, you know what, maybe we need to evaluate what a real man is and stop putting it on it to be physical protector, because we started this conversation with us saying, hey, if we're in a restaurant and some dude comes up and says, what are you going to do? Especially if you beat the shit out of him and now he's paralyzed. You know, a guy the other day, because someone called him the N-word, killed a man, punched him out, killed a man. Now he's going to prison for the rest of his life. Is that what we're teaching our children as well? It's like when you feel that your manhood is being threatened, to physically harm someone to the point where, and if you don't have a way, like if you're in a situation where your life is threatened, fight and get out of Dodge. But if you're in a situation where you hurt a person so much so that it's life threatening, and then you go to jail for the rest of your life, are you a man? Because now your woman don't got a man. Your woman's in prison.
Okay,
or your
this
man's
really
in
has
prison.
nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Well,
But-
I'm not saying what you're talking about. I'm just saying in general, this is the conversation of being the protector, being the protector. We have to change this concept.
No, what we were saying is, okay, let me reset the tape. A man who beats a woman is scum. He should have his ass whooped and he should be put in prison. We are all in agreement with that. I've never done that, and I wouldn't even be cool with somebody who does that. Okay. So now that we've gotten that out the way, what I'm saying is I'm not talking about a situation where all these these situations where all of a sudden he becomes this abuser and all of that kind of stuff. If that happens, of course, she didn't know. This was something where things changed. I am not talking about those situations at all. I'm only referring to situations where women go into it knowing who they're dealing with. And it's a lot of it. I see it all the time. And to be honest with you, there's something in our community that promotes the worst of our community as you want to call them protectors or whatever. I think it's BS. I've said this before on the show. Thugs are the most selfish people in the world. They are not generally protectors. You have some guys that have a moral core about them and all of that kind of stuff. But for the most part, they're not. They're not that. And what I'm saying is we as our community have to promote things that are not of that, like intelligence. My father was not a fighter. He was not a guy that was going to beat you up in the streets. But my father was a protector. My father was someone who took care of his family. He was a provider. You know what I'm saying? He was a very intelligent person. He graduated high school at 16. You know what I'm saying? And he was considered a nerd. My dad, graduated high school in 45, I think it was 1945, something like that. He would be 90 years old this year if he was still alive. And what I'm saying is, I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not none of that. What I'm saying is there's a thing in our community that is off base and not right. And we have to talk about that. And what
Yes.
happens is I see a lot of young black boys they love school at a young age. They love going to school. They love to learn. They're nice, good kids. They play Pokemon and all of that. But then there's something that happens where all of a sudden they have this, they have to be this swaggy dude who, Mr. Thug, and and a lot of it is because that's what our culture is pushing. And what I'm saying is that is the thing that we have to change, is because if we promote better quality of human beings in our community, then that would go a long way to getting rid of some of these issues. But no,
That's why I'm saying it
I am
starts
not.
with that's what it starts with the community. It starts with teaching self-defense, both the woman and the man. And it also starts with changing our idea of stop saying that men are protectors, because
I believe that we are.
but then you're just playing along with the same narrative. You're playing along with the narrative that you hate. Because
no, I don't think.
hear me out. Hear me out for a second. And let's entertain the thought that that in this day and age, thugs and the guys on the street on the street corner, they are the protectors, because they're the ones that will pop off. They're the ones that put a lot of emphasis on their appearance. They work out, they do all that kind of stuff. So that's the symbol of protection in our community today, right?
We got to get rid of that.
So we have to get rid of the idea of saying that men are the protectors.
No, we got to get rid of that.
Thing when I
Thugs
say
are the protectors.
That's
the problem.
No, it's not. I don't even think it's that the thugs are the protectors. This is the thing, and this is for me coming as a woman who lives every day and has been in situations where I was not protected either by the community or by people that I love and that were male. So this has nothing to do with calling men the protectors. This is a mindset of responsibility and accountability for our own community.
That's right.
So if I'm walking to the store and a man is trying to talk to me and I said, no, thank you, and he calls me a bitch, or he tries to walk up on me to grab me. There has been several times where something like this has happened to me, and not one damn person said a fucking thing. And here I am having to kind of defend myself from this big burly ass man. And it's other dudes sitting around and they say nothing. Not one thing at all. And there's times when, let's say, I might have a handful of groceries or whatever. One time I had like a whole bunch of stuff in my hand and I had something on my head. So y'all know I can do African stuff very well. So I made sure I had a hair wrap on that day and I squished it down like my African sisters, and I put that thing on my head and I walked to my car with it balancing on my head and the stuff in my hand. Now when I got to my car, I unlocked it, I put the stuff in, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I'm good, right? This man said, I would have got that for you. You just watch me walk clear from the door to the car. But after I get in the car, you could have got that for me. No, you stay your punk ass over there. That's what you do. And it's just some things that men, or there's those men that say, well, it's not my responsibility. You ain't a woman in my family or something like that. But if I see a sister being attacked, I'm not standing by the wayside and just like, he beating her ass. Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm probably gonna call the law, and then I'm gonna try to get you away. I'm talking because I'm a dang on social service worker. I can't. I have to. Some things I have to report. I'm a designated reporter. But it's like there are things that happen to us. Like if I go to Senegal right now, if a man tries to accost me, niggas is coming out the sand. They appear, and I don't think it was just me. They would just appear, and they like, "Hey, what is you doing?" like don't talk to her that way. Don't mess with her. Da 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 da. And they don't even have to know me. We've lost what Ryan has said, the communal factor, that we don't care enough about each other to protect each other.
Well,
Because
black men and black women have a very bad relationship with each other, but it kind of went away from what I was talking about the responsibility of, there's, I don't know how this got to that when I was talking
I
about.
think it's all encompassing.
No, I was talking about something specific, very specific. It was very specific. And then it just got turned into a bunch of other stuff. And, but it's fine. You guys don't want to talk about it, but it's all good.
I feel like it kind of all melts
It's
together.
all encompassing, because the thing is
But
that
no, I was talking about something specific. I wanted to talk about that specific thing, and the way that people get away with not really addressing it is by bringing up a bunch of other stuff.
So women choosing better men.
Yes.
But Kente, this is, as a woman, I'm so serious. Not every woman knows that they're getting into a relationship with an abuser. But I know that you never said that. But wait a minute, let me finish my point. So there are women who will get into relationships with men who tend to abuse. Those are like a minute minority of these women. And then there are some women, I mean, you can't, like, so if I'm from one hood and he from another hood, and in his hood he's known for beating women's ass, but I meet him at the mall and I'm like, I don't do my homework on him, and I go end up talking to him, and then all of a sudden he want to smack me or punch me in the eye just all because he thought I disrespected him. I mean, at that point, and the most dangerous point for women to leave a relationship like that is to leave.
Okay.
They feel trapped.
Okay, I am not talking about those women. I'm talking about the women that do that. So I mean, obviously, if she didn't know, she didn't know. We can all agree.
Women don't know. That's the point that I'm making, Kente. You're thinking that they do, and they really don't.
A lot of them do, more than they give credit for. A lot of them do. I used to believe like you, until I've talked to and met so many women who that doesn't fit that bill. When you really start talking to them and you really hear their situations, because what they tend to do is they tell you the worst parts, which make you go, oh my God, what a jerk, right?
Oh, but it starts off simple. Yeah, it starts off.
But then when you actually really talk to them and find the nuts and bolts, they knew.
But the thing is, this is the thing. So a lot of people get into relationship with manipulators, and when you in a master manipulator, it starts off with maybe like, I was just playing.
But we're not talking about those guys.
Really, yeah. And so, but you are talking about those people.
No,
because
I didn't.
They don't just come off like, oh, you my bitch, I'm about to beat your ass. Like when we first started dating, nobody does that.
I know. I just said the ones that we can agree that the ones that.
So what I'm saying, what I want to know is, how did they know? So how did they know? Like the first day, they knew he was.
They knew you know when dudes ain't shit. You know when a guy ain't shit. Stop.
I mean, you can know a guy ain't shit, but you ain't gonna know he gonna beat you.
You are not okay. You are an adult, right? You've seen a lot of stuff, right? You're very intelligent, right? You know when you meet a guy, he ain't shit.
But you also have to realize that some of these women grew up with ain't shit mindsets. Come on now, Kente.
Those are excuses.
Those are not excuses. That's reality of our communities. Because I've got kids right now. I had a kid we had to put a kid out of housing because she was in an abusive relationship. This Negro tried to steal her car. The baby was in the car, not in the car seat, drove off. The baby almost fall out. If she wouldn't have grabbed the baby when she did, the baby would have been on the ground. He almost ran her over and everything. It was a whole mess. Yes, she knows by her history with him. Yeah, now he's an abuser. But when they got her car back and she came back to get the office to get the baby for me, do you know what this girl said?
What?
And she said, I'm worried about his well-being. I said, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, what are you
And
supposed to do? Okay,
no,
so what are you supposed to
no.
do about that?
So no.
I'm
This
supposed
is
to feel sorry
this
for
is
her?
wait a minute. No, I am feeling sorry for her. You should, and this is why. Let me tell you why I feel sorry for this girl.
She's
First
choosing
of all,
this.
she's 20 years old. She's been on the
That's an
street
adult.
since she's 20 years old. She's
That's
been
an
on the
adult.
street since she was 16. So I asked her. I said, "What is wrong with you? Why are you so attached to this man who keeps beating on you and almost killed you and your damn child?" I said, "Where are your parents?" "My parents don't want me they don't want anything to do with me. They put me out because I've been dealing with a guy. I started dealing with American men. She's African, and because she went against their wishes, they put her out, and she been raised by it. So she has um a mindset and also a codependency on this man because he's been the one that's been basically making sure she eat and stuff, and her parents are nowhere to be found. We are fucked up in these streets. Our parents are fucked up. These kids is fucked up. Kente, you cannot completely blame this on, oh, that she just should have chose better. It is always so much more than she just should have chose better. It's something in your mindset that's making you have these impoverished thoughts that why she feels like she's not worthy of the love she deserves, why she's not worthy of being treated well. It starts in your home.
But you know what though? If we want to use that as an excuse, right? Then you have to then go to the guys that do this crap and say, well, maybe that's how they were socialized to be, and then you start making excuses for the abuser.
I got a brother that beat women. He used to beat on women, and I said, "What the hell is you ain't never seen your mother get beat on by no one? You ain't never seen no." I said, "If a man beat me today, you would try to kill that nigga." He said, "I sure would." I said, "So what the hell make you think you can go beat on somebody else's goddamn woman, child? What makes you think that?" My mother was abusive. She would beat your ass for less than nothing.
Mm.
He has that same mentality. You don't do what the fuck I say, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
He's just, I'm not going to talk badly about your brother, but
that's my brother. I don't care. I'm real with my brother. I don't have shit to hide, and I will keep it real with him. The same way, I was like, your ass will end up in jail, and you deserve it. And that's where your ass need to be.
well, I'm be honest with you. I'm sick of these guys that they're put on a pedestal in our community. I'm sick of it. And to be honest with you, these men are put on pedestals in our community, and no one talks about this. That's the problem.
Well,
they usually get put on pedestals
for
whatever
reason. I don't
they're put on pedestals.
All these damn excuses. These men are put on pedestals. Black men who are about something, and because then what they say is that all black men are like that, and that's not true. I'm not like that. Ryan isn't like that, and I can tell you countless of black men that are not like that. That doesn't. Those Negroes don't define black men at all.
But we also have to realize
that we ain't nothing.
We also have to realize that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And it's not saying that, a woman walks into a relationship and she deserves to be beat on and stuff like that. No, I know you didn't say it, but it kind of like is in harmony with the idea of saying, well, if she knew the guy was a dangerous man and that will beat the hell out of her, most women wouldn't put themselves in. Most women, when it comes to selecting,
up in the head.
Most women, when it comes to selecting, you know how much decisions. First and foremost, how many men talk to them on a daily basis? More than we don't get as much of catcalling as women get, and they have to make calculated decisions on who they're going to be with, and it doesn't just start. That's why they selectively choose who they want to be with. And sometimes women, for their own protection, will pick guys that they know are strong enough to be able to defend them. And in our community, the symbol of protection right now is the guys that have money and that can whoop some ass. They all love it, and because
a lot of those guys don't whoop ass. They really don't whoop ass.
Yeah.
They shoot.
So the myth that
a lot of those thugs can't fight. I done knocked out thugs before.
Of course, a lot of thugs can't fight. It's all a bluff.
It's a
And
bluff.
if they don't have 8 of their homies helping them out, or they don't have a gun, they're a bunch of punks.
But
And what I'm saying is,
but when you look at the statistics,
I'm not blaming the victim. What I'm saying is there's a mentality in our community in which that we put the wrong kind of people on a pedestal.
We put the wrong kind of people because we don't have, our community is not protecting, because it takes more than one person to protect your family.
We go with whoever's popular. And that's the problem. And that's so I'm gonna use your boy. You know who I can't stand. If you're popular,
TD Jakes?
No, I'm not talking about TD Jakes. No, I'm talking about Umar. So let's just say, if you're popular, we'll follow you. If you look like you're doing something, we'll follow you. That's why I used to get upset about
Umar on the show.
So bring his ass on the show. I got some things to say to him. So
you will not disrespect my friend.
We probably don't need to record that show. I got some things to say to him.
She just wants to talk to him.
Wait a minute, he's gonna say all the stuff you want to hear. Oh,
no,
the queen.
He can say all, he can say whatever he want to say, but I know a tree by its fruit. But but no, we like things. We like when people look like they're doing shit. So like, let's say like if Kente got a brand, let's say he got a old Monte Carlo, and he got it tricked out, and he got the rims on it. You know, he rolling through. Oh, that nigga, he doing. That's my dog. He doing it. He know he on his thing. Da da da. And then when you pull up to the store, oh, then you ain't even got to worry about it. You take this juice, man. You know what I'm saying? We give props and respect to people who look like they have things. And that is our problem. We've done away with, oh, he is a genius. Like, let's make a way for this boy to go to college. Like, no, we gonna make a way so boy can go bring his rims from the rim store. We get
NBA or be a rapper.
Right. And that's the things that are in media.
That's what I'm talking about.
That have been so elevated.
What I'm talking about.
And
Little
it's
yuck
ridiculous.
Little yuck or whatever rapper.
Right, but it starts in your homes though, because as parents, you have the ability to control the things. You have the eye gates, ear gates, mouth gate. You have control over all of that. So if your kid wants to be like little Yachty or little Gotti, whatever the hell who's out there, then you need to cut the TV off, damn it. And I understand that they have to go and they see these things, but you have to be able to explain to these children why this is not good for you, why this is all fantasy and this is not real, because their parents around there rapping the lyrics with them.
Exactly. And then we also have to talk about, and this is stuff that I talk about when I used to do speaking and stuff like that, in regards to gang violence and how to prevent your kid from getting into a gang. The thing that my mentors and I, we were part of a program, a gun amnesty program, encouraging people to turn in their guns so that we could prevent the cops from going in and doing dirty on a lot of these young black men. So we gave them an out with the gun amnesty program. But the idea that, there's a lot of the times when my elders would go and knock on the doors of some of these people, because these drug dealers and these thugs were paying the bills, like they would give money. So you have these social dynamics that, we don't really see, but they're actually happening in the community. So that's why women are being beat on, knowing they're being beat on, and can't do nothing about it, because the community is supporting those who are paying their bills and buying, paying for their car notes or whatever they have to do. I even have family members that have done that to other family members, paying bills and stuff like that to keep them quiet, and that's the reality, is that, we don't know. And because we are fragmented and because we have changed the script and we've put a lot of focus on providing and protecting, we've put that focus on a man, and therefore men are doing whatever means necessary to protect and provide for their family, whether it's selling drugs, and doing what they got to do, or carrying around guns, unlicensed guns. They'll do whatever it takes so that they can hold down their family. And so we have to change the dynamic of survival, and we have to realize that we as a community, we are our survival. We need to be able to self-sustain ourselves. We need to be encouraging our youth instead of going on the street. We need to encourage them that, hey, you don't always have to be that masculine, hyper masculine man. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to always think that you got to protect things. Protect yourself by getting your education. Protect yourself by coming home at night, instead of hanging out with your friends. Protect yourself in multiple ways. We have this saying in karate. We say, use your best block. And that's, don't be there. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to get yourself hurt. And a lot of us like to go and walk into the danger because that is our way of survival. And no one's teaching us survival skills. And most importantly, we are not teaching people within our community how to express themselves. Because what I heard Mosaic talk about earlier was, being beat. Like the mother was beating, so the brother starts beating. And that's the thing, is that the way we treat people within our own homes, then these kids grow up with a lot of hate, a lot of anger, and no mode of expression. So we are at young ages, we don't see our daddies. I was told, you're going to be the man of the house. Oh, well, that's something to put on a 12-year-old child, that he's going to be the man of the house. How am I going to be the man of the house when I don't even know what, what 2 + 2 is? I can't. And how am I supposed to go and protect my family? So we automatically click on when we see these rap videos. And that was me. I was that kid. You look at the rap videos, you're like, damn, that's what I want to be. And then you see them calling women bitches and hoes. And you're like, you know what? That's what I have to be in order to get them to respect me. You get trained to that. And then women are seeing that, and women are going into it because they think that's because they haven't seen a real man in their life. So they will flock to that. And it's conditioning. It's psychological. So to break that, you cannot put the onus on the woman herself. You have to put onus on the community to stand up and protect your own. When you see someone being beat in the street, you don't have to step in, because in karate we say, use your best block and don't be there. Don't put yourself in a situation unless you could whoop his ass real bad. Don't try to step into a fight. Secondly, if you see that happening, you got a phone, call the cops. Take a picture. There's multiple ways of saving that woman's life. But you have to be able to gauge that situation, because you never know. He could be packing heat and you're gone. So we have to think. We can't be so reactionary when we're sitting down and someone steps up to the table and starts talking to your girl. We can't just react all the time, because that's how people are getting killed.
Well,
and what makes me so angry is that, we do so much to our own selves. It just seems stupid when I see people they be like, when we start marching, talking about, when something happens to one of us by somebody else. It's like, use that same energy that you swear you had on the people that did something to you. I don't.
I have a great issue with that. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when that happens, those people are prosecuted. The difference is, we pay taxes for the people who murder us, and nothing is happening to them. So little Ray or little JoJo, if he shoots,
he get prosecuted.
Tyrone, he's going to jail. He's going to prison. Right. These cops ain't going to prison. So I get, obviously we want to get rid of violence in our community, but but I hate when they're I think it's a way of letting them off the hook by bringing up, oh, what about black on black crime, or what about Chicago?
That pisses me off.
Yeah,
and I really like
Michigan. No, I just did that.
I really like what New Era Detroit. Do you follow those brothers?
No, what's that?
So New Era Detroit is a group and they teach different classes and stuff to the community, teaching kids about finances, everything. But one thing that they do as protectors of their community, if I go into, because there's a lot of Saudis and a lot of other Arabs in Detroit and Michigan area. There's a lot of them. If most of the time, if I go to a party store, is what we call them, or the corner store, it's owned by somebody of Arabic descent.
Right.
If I go in there and they disrespect me, or they whatever, and I put that on Facebook and I tag New Era Detroit, they showing up and they shutting it down.
Nice.
They will shut down your gas station. They will shut down your liquor store. They
Oh,
do
wait a
not care.
minute. Those are those guys that
$dollar will go into that store.
are those the
love
guys
those
that
two.
are those the guys that bought the liquor
And
store?
they
or
bought
the
the
gas
gas
station?
station.
Gas
Yeah,
station. I know who you're talking about.
they
They
bought the
bought that gas
station.
station with the racist Arab guy. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't play. So you're not gonna
Hilarious.
come in our neighborhood with that bull, especially
They
like
African American, right?
yeah.
Yeah. See?
They're not, and that's what when I like as far as protecting community, that's what some of the stuff that needs to be done. Because like okay, so in Chicago, these women went out because we always seem to go out on the front lines for stuff sometimes, and we'll run out because and these are mothers that their children have been killed due to street violence,
Right.
and they were protest, on this they was doing on the street making sure kids get home. Somebody did a drive by and killed the women.
Wow.
And this is people from our own community. But who does it benefit for them to stop protecting our community?
But I'm gonna be honest with you. In Chicago, there's a whole other element.
Yeah, there's a lot. I know.
Yeah.
You got to echo.
But it's everywhere though, Kente. The same thing. So like during some of those when George Floyd was killed, there was a lot of riots here. People have on video of people just sitting bricks out. There's a big, there's things that all of a sudden guns show up in neighborhoods. There's a lot of things that are happening, and we keep falling for the same things. We're very easily tricked into the same type of stuff, and we haven't learned from Marcus Garvey. We haven't learned from Malcolm X, and we haven't learned completely from MLK.
We haven't learned from Dessalines. We haven't learned from Pee Wee Herman. I mean, oh, but he was a great black revolutionary, right? Pee Wee Herman.
Shut up, Kente.
You know what? You know why I say that though? There's
him.
You know what? No, there's a reason why I say it. There was this thing I just saw a video on called the Black Pack, and it was Eddie Murphy, Paul Mooney, Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and Arsenio Hall, where they called themselves the Black Pack, and they hung out and they were supposed to make all this content together, but then they all got big on their own, and they ended up not, doing what they had set out to do. And they're still cool to this day, but they just don't do stuff together. And I was loving, this little documentary. It was like a mini doc. And then they said they made Pee Wee Herman an honorary member. I was like, what? Like, why? And they gave him a plaque and everything. I was like, no.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, I was like, oh, man. I was like, that's why I said Pee Wee Herman. But anyway, I digress. Well, you know what? We can go on and on. I love, what I love about Ryan and Mosaic is we can have these passionate conversations, and because I've had people on the show where we're having these passionate conversations and they be holding grudges too about it. They'd be like, yeah, I didn't like the way you said,
man, forget Kente.
Right. I'm like, look, man, we can have a passionate conversation and be on opposite situations. I want to reiterate, I never beat up no woman, and I am not for that. I do feel like Ike Turner was they lied on him. But anyway, that movie was a bunch of falsehoods.
Man,
that movie was look. Judge Joe Brown said that movie was a bunch of lies about Ike Turner. They said he was the abused person. But
Joe Brown look like he abused women. If you when he get drunk,
Joe Brown really.
man, he be getting slizzard.
Yeah, I like Joe Brown. But anyway, I digress. No, but I want to thank you guys so much. Uh, I will. As I said, we're gonna be on a hiatus for over a month, and so when we come back, we're gonna come back with like some great shows, great guests, panel shows. I might have some big guests come on to the program. We're gonna do some game show stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I want to do so many different topics. Of course, we'll talk about love, sex, relationships. I want to do a show on BBWs and BBMs. Because every time I wanted to do it, my other co-hosts were like, "Nah, I don't want to go into that." So I said, since I keep losing weight, I better do it now before they'll say it's cultural appropriation. But I think I can still be in the conversation right now. So otherwise, they'll be like, "Why are you saying you ain't part of the community no more?" But I want to talk about it because, and not from no negative standpoint or anything like that, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have about what in our community and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it, and let's start off with you, Ryan. How can we get you in social media and all this stuff? And what do we have on the horizon for you?
You can find me at Hustle Zone TV. Just type it in Google, you find all the socials, or go to hustlezonetv.com. And then you'll be able to go to our, but essentially we started off as the world's first living documentary, but I have pivoted because I really feel that mental health and wellness is a very important factor. And so we've shrunk down our business now to be a media outlet to talk about mental health issues and to bring Black joy, to bring happiness in people's lives, and for all the things that we were talking about today about bringing communities together, that is our major goal. So if you are in support of that, please hit me up, follow me on at Hustle Zone or at Hustle Zone TV.
And just as a side note, if me and Ryan are hanging out and some shifty guys start coming around, I'm gonna look at him. I said, "All right, martial artist, protect me."
I could get, I did karate, man. These people down like these USC fighters, they, can I say something quickly? Like I was so angry with my sensei because like I was up to like a yellow belt or whatever, or white belt. I don't remember. It was so long ago. And he stopped training me. And I was so afraid at the time because I was smoking too much weed and I'd start getting psychosis and I thought everybody was out for me, right? So I asked my mentor, I'm like, can you train me? So he trained me, and then he stopped, and because he had health issues or whatever. All these years, I was like, not even all these years, like probably for a good 5-10 years, I did not feel safe. I didn't feel safe at all. But the way he changed my life and the way that he pointed me in the right direction, I'm not killed. I thought that gang members were going to come and kill me and all this other stuff. But because I changed my life and I set boundaries and all this other stuff, I've never put myself in a situation where I thought that I was in danger. And that's the key concept of karate. The karate is just when you see something, you see danger, don't walk into it. You need to be aware of your surroundings. When you walk outside, you got to pretend that there's 1,000 enemies out there. And when you're cautious and you look at your surroundings, you will save your life every single time. And also remember, like people talk about social distancing as an issue, but in karate, they've been teaching social distancing, for centuries. And that's be 6 feet away. That's be 6 feet away from the next person. Because when people get into that 6 feet, that's your personal space, right? So when someone's in your personal space, back up, get out of it. If someone's coming on your table, you already know. You already know. Maybe ask the waitress to move you to another table, but you should never be able, like, there's a lot of the times we know that we're in danger, but we still want to. We don't follow our intuition. We still go towards the danger, and that's what gets most people in trouble.
Amen. And if 6 guys are about to jump us, I'm gonna be like, all right, you take those 5
I'm
on the
already
right.
gone.
I'll take the one on the left. I'll take one on the left. You get the 5 on the right. I'm like, you just gonna leave? Wow. Like, wow, ain't that nothing? I'll be like, y'all should go chase his ass. Leave me alone. No, but no, thank you so much, man. And I can't wait to chop it up with you on whenever you do your next programs or whatever.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I have to go because my eyes. I have a red eye, and that's why I've removed some of the saturation from the picture today.
Okay.
And I'm just having a hard time looking at these screens, so I'm gonna have to bow out.
All
Thank
right,
you
man.
guys so
Thought
much.
about getting glasses with blue blocker?
I have to. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
now.
I
because
use them
this is-
too.
This
Yeah,
is destroying
that
my
makes a
eyes.
difference.
I'm losing my eyesight, so it's like I have to I gotta let this rest. So, Kente,
All
I'll
right,
give
man.
you a call maybe tomorrow and talk about a few things. But
Sounds wonderful.
Mosaic, Kente, 2 of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
See you, Ryan.
Mosaic. Now, how can we get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for
Find
you?
me on Instagram on Mosaic Star. Also on Clubhouse as Mosaic Star. That's how you can find me. What's coming for me? Just working on, still trying to build that brand. I got new stuff that I'm working on. I got a line of Afrocentric homeware, like home goods, like kitchen tiles and stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna launch something for Kwanzaa. So that's gonna be nice, and I can't wait to get that going. So
All right. I'm so happy. Flash that ring real quick. Okay, so please, fellas, stop asking me about her. Stop asking me. All right, you saw the ring. Okay, taken. So, so you know how guys can be. But that is wonderful. And you can get me at Kente F on Twitter, Kente Ferguson on Instagram. Of course, the website is indyradio.org. That's INDY radio.org. And I will see you in about a month.
all right, bye everybody.
Peace.